Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach.
And Lucas.
It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach.
And Lucas.
It's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Rail Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh.
And Lucas.
Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
Father, the sleeper has awakened!
Well, TGIF, everybody.
Thank God it's Friday!
Look at that. That's 2 days in a row. 2 shows in a row I got the day right. We'll call that a run. I'm just making a run on being accurate on what day it is. I mean, hell, my job's done for the rest of the show, isn't it? That's all I got to do is get the day right. Welcome to the Ironworx, everybody, right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. My name is Josh Corey, and I am hanging out this morning with some pals of mine. Walt, Zach.
And Lucas.
Yeah, and Lucas. What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Howdy,
Good.
howdy.
I am doing better. I am feeling like energized and wanting to get shit done again finally.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
All it takes is a 14-hour sleep.
Yeah. No, last night, jeez, I didn't fall asleep till like 11. Well, the Glowbuster show that we did last night instead of Wednesday, it didn't stop, and yeah, it was no fun. I mean, the show was fun, but trying to get to sleep, you know, because as soon as that show ended, it was 8 hours away till this show started, and there ain't no going to bed right after a show. So yeah, it was a little tired now, but that'll go away once this coffee kicks in.
And I'm back. Yeah, I missed Tuesday. I was just feeling a bit under the weather, actually. And then I just think I was exhausted. So I had a early night, went to bed about 8:30, and woke up in the morning good as gold. So I was pretty stoked about that. I thought, oh, no, here we go. But, you know, when you got stuff to do, it sort of motivates you to get over your thing quick. So, yeah.
Lights that fire under your ass, you know?
I got no time for this. I gotta get back going.
So what's going on out there in Australia, man?
Oh, man, I don't know. It's a crazy world, I think. I don't know, like, have you been watching any of the stuff that's been happening with the... I hate to call them police at this stage because they're not. You know,
Cosplay.
police has
Cosplay.
a connotation like it's you know, they're there to help or enforce some sort of law.
Legitimate in any sort of way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. There's you sort of has a tendency to you think that it's actually legitimate, but these guys, as far as I can tell, they're just basically militarized terrorists. So enforcing, you know, more terrorists. Yeah, mercenaries. Yeah, that's a good one. You know, pirates.
Corporate security with a monopoly on violence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, so that's what they are, and that's what they're. You know, these basically you've got the tradesmen out there, and they were sort of the last ones to get this sort of policies rolled through, and then they, you know, didn't want to lose their income to support their families, to feed their families, and didn't want to take a poison or be coerced in it. So they got out in the streets, and they've had a fair bit of force and threatened and all the rest of it back at them. And we've been able to catch a bit of live streaming, but I heard word for the last day or so. I mean, they shut down the airspace, so I guess that's to stop people with drones or any other things to actually film the streets. And the other one was I'm not quite sure on this if they shut down a lot of the live streams as well, but so I'm not really up on the last couple of days what's been happening, but yeah, they got a fair run for their money the day before. So yeah, they were in the city, and the police come in with their big armored truck and split the group up and shot rubber bullets and gas and sort of spread them out because it usually takes a little while for people to get there and start to build up. So they got in and sort of nipped it in the bud early, and then they went to a war memorial type thing. It's just a shrine of remembrance in Melbourne. There, it's actually an old mud flood building, but that's where they have the shrine of remembrance, and that's to do with the Anzacs and things like that. So they were positioned there, and then you've seen there was a few thousand protesters, and then there was, I don't know, so many cops, and they basically all surrounded them. And so there was the cops really didn't do that much there because I think it was bad press for them, honestly. Otherwise they would have, especially because just where they were at the Shrine of Remembrance. So what ended up happening is, a few of them left, and then there was a few that just stood their ground, and they basically, at the end of the day, they just got rubber bullets and things shot at them. And I remember seeing this one picture of all these police just on the Shrine of Remembrance, and I was like, wow, these Anzacs would be rolling in their grave right at this minute.
Right.
I actually grew up with an Anzac. Jimmy Anzac. He had a full court basketball hoop in his backyard. But it was like a half court, but it just had the two hoops. It was the only person I knew who had like a basketball court in their backyard. I don't know. You said that name, it just popped into my head.
Well, I was just trying to get a little idea of what was, just catching up, because the last things I had watched are the things you had sent us there on Skype. And as I typed in Australia, the first thing that popped up was earthquake from 2 days ago. So apparently they had a 6.0 earthquake there in Melbourne just days ago. So here's my concern. Don't piss off the wrong people, because when they start firing that fucking earthquake gun around, dude, that shit is real. I know. It sounds silly. Go look into it. I started studying about their vibratory weaponry back pre-9 Fake 11. I was looking into it because of a report I read I used to get so many crazy sources mailed to me from different people I had met over the years at conventions. So I would get weird clippings, weird articles, some subscriptions to crazy underground newspapers, lots of shit like that before the internet was a thing. And in one of them, they were talking about the, which building was it now? Damn it. It was not the... There was a building before 9/11 that suddenly blew up because they parked a van in front of it. You hope you hear the air quotes.
That was the federal building there in Oklahoma City.
I knew it was a federal building. It was the federal building.
I believe so.
I couldn't remember exactly the descriptor of it. So yeah, the report was saying from these munitions experts retired that there was no fucking way that the damage done to that building could be done by a van parked in the fucking street. They went into this whole thing about these vibration weapons that they were already being part of testing on the fucking, on the battlefield, using it. And for it to be employed at that level meant that, they had quite a bit. And like I said, before a building just or two or three just suddenly evaporated all in one day. So yeah, earthquake. Look into it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Like Melbourne, I've never really known it to have an earthquake. Like it may get a small shudder or something like that, but Australia is really actually benign for earthquakes. I mean, nothing like a 6.0. I mean, that's just way out of left field, you know. So whether they were, supposedly they've got those dumps over here, those deep underground military bases as well.
Right.
So
Right.
But and I did read a little bit of an article how you can sort of tell the difference between an explosion and an earthquake, because this was about 10 kilometers down, so it's, what would that be, 8 miles or something like that. So it's quite shallow, and so I was just thinking, yeah, it's definitely it's not normal whatsoever. And just to have a one-off, and by the seismographs, you can usually tell whether it's an explosion. Yeah, because the normal earthquake sort of has sort of this, generates and builds up and then drops down, whereas an explosion's like heap of energy at the start,
right,
and then it filters off. So don't know. Wouldn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me at this point. It's like, they've lied about everything. Why wouldn't they have a earthquake machine? They spray the skies and move, weather systems around. So,
yeah, anybody out there right now that thinks that this sounds a little bit crazy about the whole earthquake thing, Tesla himself wrote that he could split the Earth in half. Given, the equipment. If they gave him the equipment, he could split the whole Earth in half just by shaking it at the right frequency. That's all it is.
Well, because he had that little generator that he had that would go back, like one of those shake lights that you would use to charge it up. You take the flashlight and you shake it a few times, and that charges the battery. Then you can use it. Then it wears out. You take it, you shake it a few times. Well, he had one that would just sort of oscillate back and forth and generate electricity as it oscillated, just like shaking of the flashlight. But he learned if he mounted it in the basement of his apartment building, that if he got that oscillation at just the right frequency, it began to shake the entire building. I believe Mythbusters, even on a television, went out there, put one on a bridge and got the bridge to moving with just this little thing about the size of a 1 liter bottle of soda or something. It's just a bunch of nothing, but you get it oscillating and shaking and going at just that right frequency, and it'll
I don't know how real this is, but
big enough fulcrum and a long enough lever, and I can move the entire Earth. What's up, Tominoid knows what?
Isn't there a thing where when marching over bridges, the military does not march in unison? Just for that reason? So their frequency doesn't, lock in step with the bridge and just
holy shit.
Bring it
I
down?
just had the biggest sensation of deja vu I've had in quite a while. Like, it sent chills all the way up and down me. Because what I was about to say is I read this book in high school, literally, which was a continuation of the Star Wars saga before it got destroyed by its creator. And it was a book about Han Solo before he was part of the Star Wars universe, when he was out doing his smuggling. And in one of the stories, there was this planet that had a dude that was controlling it all with a bunch of robots. And at one part of it, they somehow hacked the robots' system so that they would all start marching in unison across a bridge and destroy it so that they could win the day. So yeah, pretty crazy. I've told y'all that story apparently because it really hit a nerve when I started to tell it again.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, as me and Zach keep going on about, is the electrochemical nature of our world. And, these guys have known this stuff for ages. Way before, we're just sort of figuring it out and sort of analysing things as we go. But yeah, these guys, they know how it works. They've had the, patents for these different technologies and hidden them away and whatever else that they've got from the old world. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they have tech that's, way more advanced than sort of we know about. That doesn't surprise me at all. And we don't need to bring aliens or anything like that into it. It's just an understanding of the world that we're in and how to apply it.
Even in like the oldest stories that were, handed down to us, I see Daz there in chat on top of it already. There at Jericho, once they blew the horns, it tumbled those walls down. What the fuck's that? Frequency. So it all comes back to frequency, as we know.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I'm playing catch up inside chat. Sorry. Hi, everybody. I'll see you guys. Y'all always distract me. Are we almost to the frickin'...
We still have 9 minutes.
Because I know it felt like we were there for some reason. Man, my time sense is completely screwed now today.
It was that deja vu,
I know, I was going to say, that's what threw me out, the
put you in
deja
a little
vu.
time warp.
Exactly. It threw me back.
They're bringing out another Matrix.
Yeah, I saw that. And I saw lots of theories.
They're gonna destroy it even more, aren't they? They're gonna just ruin it even more.
Well, I mean, they didn't quite kill it with that third one, so I guess she is gonna come and stomp it to death. I've seen a trailer by accident. It showed up after something I was watching on YouTube, and I said, "Oh, let me see how bad this is going to be." Yeah.
Anyway, tell you what else I've been doing. Been doing lots of building the last couple of days. I got my mum's boyfriend, and he's building a shipping container house. So yeah, I went over there and gave him a hand and basically put up some frames around the inside of it there. So he sort of explained what he was doing. It was basically two 40-foot shipping containers, and he put them together and cut out the center walls, put a big beam in, and that's going to be the second story. So he's building that part first, which is going to have the bedroom, bathroom, and all this other stuff with it, and then he'll get a crane in and lift those two shipping containers together, all built, and put it on top of the other ones. The other two, I think he's got two 20-foot shipping containers there. So yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting to see this project sort of play out and hopefully be a part of it and, learn how to do it myself. And it's sort of...
Are you going to be cutting, like, doorways and stuff like that, or is all that stuff already done?
Oh, well, no, they were just, like, blank shipping containers, and he went around and basically cut all the windows and the doors out where he wanted them, and then sort of put some heavy-duty boxing, steel boxing stuff around the outside, and then welded that in, so that sort of secured it up. And then we're building the frames internally, so that's where you can put your plaster or something like that. And then he's going to do sort of like a wood outside, so you actually won't see the shipping container. It will be all timber and look really nice.
Nice. That sounds like it's going to be so much fun to do.
Yeah, I think he's even making a pool out of a shipping container as well. So, and he was contemplating putting an earth floor on it, like on the roof, so we can grow things on the roof. You ever seen those?
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome. I'd even maybe drop one on the ground underneath.
Yeah, grow stuff underground.
Those shipping container pools are really neat. They've got them. The retail ones are amazing. That cut out corners or cut out windows and put it in this real thick, heavy plexiglass.
Oh wow, yeah.
And you can just that whole corner they make glass, and you can see the water and stuff. It's really cool. divide them up, you can make like 1/3 of your shipping container into like a hot tub. The other 2/3 can be like a little pool. There's some really neat things they got going on.
That's the go. Have like the jacuzzi at one end, you warm up and then jump into the cold. That's the best, eh? But yeah, I was like looking at it going, I could do this. So I want to get a couple of 20-footers, put in the back, build a decent studio, deck it out, you know, drum kits and guitars. But yeah, so yeah, it gets me in the mood for building and stuff, and then I realize I don't have very good tools or many at all, so it sort of limits me. Like,
well, I mean, when you're doing that kind of stuff, I mean, if you're just cutting one hole into steel, this or that, that's fine. You can go down to, you know, what is it, Northern Tool, or, you know, one of the places like that. But if you're going to be cutting multiple holes, and I mean, how quick are you guys going through the cutting discs?
No, he'd already done that before I'd got there, but so I didn't see him doing that. But I'd say he went through a fair few of them, because it was the outside of it is like spring steel, so it's actually quite thick.
Yeah, what is it? 1/8 of an inch thick? 1/16 of an inch thick?
Yeah, something like that.
Because it's 2-ply, right? There's an inside wall and an outside wall.
No, not these ones. Just an outside one. Yep.
Wow, that would be so much fun, cutting all that stuff and welding it all together.
Yeah, and the windows you cut out are quite big, so he's got these actually big panels of the shipping container sides, and I was like, oh, what are you doing with those? I might take them and use them for a wall and stuff like that, so where you can just sort of overlap them and chuck a bit of silicone around and paint them up. They'll come up nice too.
Don't throw away any of that stuff. You go to like the hardware store to buy pieces of steel. That shit's expensive, man.
No, he's had a lot to do with steel and all that sort of stuff, because he used to do powder coating and set up his own sort of plant to do powder coating on stuff and clean all steel before you got it off. So you'd use the acids and those sort of things. So he was sort of going into that, and it was really cool.
I think are you guys hearing that little rustle?
I am. Almost
I
sounds
think
like
it might be you, Zach. I've been trying to suss it out.
So. I don't know if it's my mic or what.
Are you? It might be bearding.
If you have I'm not touching my beard. My mic is away from my face a good.
Oh, because that's what it sounded like. The couple times I heard it was that you were rubbing it against the mic, and I figured you were already talking about being bearded and how it's different and all that. So I thought maybe it was just that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm not hearing it right this second.
Yeah, it's not it doesn't seem, like I said, it seems so in like just occasional and rare that it almost has to be something you're hitting, or I don't know. It could be a short.
I apologize about
the
that.
Flip Flat, I see you there from New York. Welcome. Glad to have you there in chat. Sorry, I just noticed that as I was going through trying to catch up.
Yeah, I was before the show. I mean, Josh wasn't late. He just wasn't the first one in there like he normally is. You know, he's usually the one that starts it and is waiting for all of us to get in there. So it was like, 7 till? And I was thinking, oh, crap, man. I really pumped up the show on Glowbusters last night before we jumped out and told everybody we'd be on YouTube. I did mention TFR Live, but I said, on YouTube.
Right.
And now we're not going to be here. No.
We did it.
But
not us. Josh did it. I guess I need to spend this weekend getting things set up for the run through of this secondary stuff so I can run it through the whole, anyway, technical stuff. You guys don't need to hear all that here almost at break time.
When do the clocks change? When do we change our clocks? I know usually Britain and us do it on different times.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks apart, a week apart, something like that. It should be
That's
coming up.
That's how you would do it if you were going to make everything line up and make sense, and make logic
Everybody
happen.
do it at different times. Yeah.
Do it at different times.
Yeah, I don't have any idea. Well, that's going to be
I don't really know.
real close.
Fall back. I know fall back. I know that. We're going to fall back. That's all I can tell you. Okay.
And that's going to be first segment there, fellas. Let's go grab some fresh coffee.
I'll do that. Thank you.
That's what I was waiting for. A little break music. I knew it was headed that way. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. This is the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas hanging out with you this morning. We'll be right back right after this.
It's amazing how people have been raving about iLife all over Facebook. They've been posting their testimonials just because they want to get the word out because it's worked so well for them. If you're not familiar with iLife, it's a 99% pure CBD oil, but the secret is the synergy between the hemp and the ayahuasca vine, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. We recently received an email from a wife whose husband has Parkinson's. For the first time, he's been able to sleep through the entire night. Another customer reported that they're no longer using NSAIDs because their tennis elbow has been relieved with iLife. The reports have been phenomenal and much more than we ever expected. Everyone should have access to this. That's why if you head on over to iLife.com right now and use coupon code TFR, we'll give you $5 towards your order. And we'll even ship it worldwide. That's iLife.com, AYALife.com.
Hey folks, guess what the #1 phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
True initiation is an inward journey. It's a spiritual path that is totally inward. It has nothing to do with anything external to you.
I want to determine if the Grand Architect is indeed what I believe it to be, which is the artificial intelligence.
The initiatory path is one of self-discovery and self-revealing. It's not a journey that someone can hold your hand through.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you through the steps of initiation. Remember, you are divinity.
Step Beyond the Veil with Chris and Sherry Geo. Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again."
All right, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Welcome back to the Ironworx. The second half of the first half of the show kicking off right now.
You know, the chat brings up an interesting point. Time is changing for us here in the States on November 7th for those states that do that. So, coming up, is for us, we're going to fall back an hour. So for us, I don't know. How does that work for you? Anyway, I don't know when everybody else changes. I noticed Alan said they won't be changing. So, yeah, on the 7th of November, it happens for us. We go back an hour.
I
We
think
lose an hour.
Arizona is the only state that doesn't change its time zone. I think.
And I think that puts the show an hour later for those who have yet to change or will not be changing.
But that stinks. That'll be hard for Liz to watch the afternoon show.
Well, Liz says she falls back this Sunday.
Got it. Yeah.
So that would be better for her, I would think, until we change.
And for Australia, Sunday, October the 3rd. So that's when we change. And we move our clock forward.
Wait, what? No wonder you guys are all like a day ahead of us. Fix it like the rest of us do. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't Australia have some that are like a half hour off, different than right next to it?
Yeah, that's like our South Australia, which is, I'm sort of near the border of, I'm in Victoria, but near the border of the Victorian and South Australian border there. So they're a half an hour earlier, I should say. So, yeah, I don't know, they'll still be half an hour, even with the daylight savings change or non-daylight savings change. So...
Yeah, they say it's for farmers. That's why they started. Bullshit. Farmers get up before the sunrise anyway, most of the time.
Right.
You know, there was a guy from Saskatchewan.
I don't know what farmers you've been talking to. Not this farmer. It's a struggle.
Our executive line
Hot,
producer, the executive line producer, Alan Holman, there in chat, was informing us that the guy that invented daylight savings time was actually from Saskatchewan. And ironically enough, Saskatchewan doesn't change their clocks back.
That is nice irony. I like that.
Nope, he lied.
Growing up, being old like I am, I would see like the news studios, and they would have like 5 or 10, however many clocks on the wall behind them, all set to different times. And I could get it because I had to suss out time zones to work out what time shows came out. News at 11, that kind of thing. But all those that were tuned to like a half hour different, I was like, what the fuck? That don't make any sense. And that was when I was very little young, dude.
On the fly retraction. Alan retracts his prior statement and says there was somebody from Saskatchewan that had something to do with time, but it was not daylight savings. But he's still not going to change their clocks there in Saskatchewan. So
it was partially correct.
It's close enough for government work. Or Ironworx.
Yeah, the whole time thing is just ridiculous. And it really takes you away. I think it's another way, like everything else, really, what all the signs and all the, everything is for is to get you to focus on something else than nature. This is taking you away from your natural cycle, that clock that's inside of you. And this just throws that all off bonkers, wonky. I mean, we can get up at 7 a.m. and just because it's dark out doesn't mean we have to move the clock to where I want to get up when the sun's up. Well, come on, let's be realistic here. And the fact that half the world is on a totally opposite thing, like Lucas there, yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, well, we are upside down, so, it's like a reflection, isn't it? Well, the other thing, I've been sort of going back to natural time as much as possible, and I've, lately I've said, spring starts at the equinox, so that's what I've been sort of drilling into my own head. So, spring just started instead of when they tell us spring starts, and I'm trying to implement this, 364 day, or at least have the equinoxes and solstices marked as significant periods of time or changes in my own little world, in a sense. Move into it slowly.
Yeah, I think that's how we're supposed to do it, really. I think we can't all be on the same time. I don't think that's how, nature doesn't work that way. Just because it's time for you to harvest something here or do this here doesn't mean that's... But I think if you paid attention to nature, nature will tell you when all this stuff needs to be done. That's why I love the Hebrew calendar, which, by the way, shout out, it's Sukkot right now. Party outside for a week in tents. I mean, it sounds like a fun time. I'm going to head over to Just Jack's. I know Just Jack has some people that came over. Some from even like a few hundred miles away. I think Critical Inception from Virginia is down here now. So yeah, I'm going to go over there and hang out and go shoot some guns and break some bread with them and all that good stuff. But yeah, they listen to nature. Jack is always, whenever these holidays are coming around, they're marked by the new moon. And he's always sending out messages, hey, can you help me? Because it's the same here where I am. A lot of trees, a lot of hills around. So trying to catch something on the horizon is hard. You got to go to a spot. But yeah, it all starts, he starts his new year when he sees the new moon after the winter harvest. And then, 6 months later, 7 months later, I forget exactly how it all works out, they have their next harvest. And everything just correlates beautifully. And it changes. If the winter harvest isn't ready in March, then the new year doesn't start until the April new moon. Yeah, it fluctuates. It doesn't say, okay, this is how it is, and nature can work around us. It says, okay, nature's telling us the new year doesn't start yet, so the new year doesn't start yet. Now that would be hard for shipping and, all that kind of stuff for the merchants with all the monetary systems. But if we didn't have all these monetary systems, we could actually live with nature like we're supposed to. That's just my little rant on it.
So I'm working that out, trying to work it out in my head. I'm just thinking about just that idea of, okay, so if we all did that, it still mean, and I may be wrong, I'm trying to work this out in my head, but I mean, we've observed from when we tried to track the sun and when we tried all that things leave here and come in different in Australia, Rob and we would all leave, we were trying to track the sun and when it would leave at what degrees on the compass and all this kind of stuff. And so we were seeing that nothing was correlating. And so wouldn't it still be off somehow, even if you're going by the moon? I don't know. To me,
Well,
it just
that's the
leads
thing.
back
We're
to the
not we're
idea.
not going to be trying to correlate it
Sync
though.
up.
Like
We're not
like if
sync
yeah,
up.
if I'm in this area, just 80 miles to the west of me, they might not have saw the new moon today, but I saw it. You know,
Right.
but by the time it
Yeah.
got to them, it was already gone.
Or is the idea more that then that means there's always a place that has got food going on? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just trying to work it out in a created type place. You know, why wouldn't you have it so everybody's doing it the same? But if everything is, I don't know, I guess that would mean everybody would be, you know, kind of worrying about food at the same time. So
Yeah,
if it's
it's
all
a
like
perfect
staggered,
system. Yeah, there's
if it's all
always
staggered,
food
then
being
everybody's got something going. Right. Yep. That does make more sense. Okay. Thank you.
Well, the
I
other thing
worked
I've
that
been
out.
looking. The other thing I was looking at was the moon cycles, that 3-year moon cycle, and then I've just done the one for I've done the autumnal and the spring equinox. So yeah, it was interesting. As soon as it was the 21st, you had that full moon, and it sort of fluctuates. It's not exactly on the same day, but there is that cycle that you see of it'll go sort of like a new moon, and then it will do a half, and then another new moon, and then it'll flip to a full moon, half, and then a full moon, and does this sort of repeating cycle where it goes through, and you can see it in both the equinoxes, and it's really interesting. So I'm going to try and sort of stick to that as well. And speaking of that equinox time, like I noticed that the tomatoes I have like just a heap of self-sown tomatoes in the greenhouse, and I just water the ground and they're coming up and I'll use them. But they pretty much come around that exact time, sprung up and wanted to go. So it was pretty interesting to see that.
Yeah, this whole idea that we all need to be on the same time type cycle type thing, it doesn't work on a the whole world scale. Like you were saying, where we are now, Lucas is going into his spring, whereas we're going into our fall. It's going to start getting colder and colder, where he's getting warmer and warmer.
Yeah, it's already in the 50s here.
Yeah, it wasn't designed for us all to be on the same schedule. That's not how the creator intended it when he built it. If he did, he would have had it warm all over across the plane at the same time and cold all across the plane at the same time.
Right. And then we go back to that whole thing of historic, not necessary documentation. Well, yeah, it must be documented or we wouldn't know about it. Just the histories of this place not having a moon. Hell, not having a sun, for that fucking matter. I mean, John talked about it, when he read the Adam and Eve book, that they freaked the fuck out the first time the sun showed up. They wanted to hide in their cave.
Something to eat them.
Right. So that kind of leads to me back to that idea that maybe where we are currently isn't where we're supposed to be. Maybe we've been contained here, and that's what all these things that are working but just don't seem to make a lot of sense sometimes. I don't know. Just trying to work it all out. I saw an interesting post on Twitter last night about hidden lands and containment areas, and just interesting. Took my mind to different places. So the fact that now we're talking about this, the sun being, or the moon or whatever, being the key to, the planting and the harvesting, we know that's how it should work, definitely. And if you want to have a self-sustaining little bunch of folks contained in a place, you would definitely want them to key away so that they could grow their own fucking food, so you don't have to come around and dump loads of food on them every couple of months. I don't know. Playing a lot of games lately too.
NASA on Mars. NASA on Mars.
Hidden lands. I'm just saying.
Did you see? We'll get into this when we do some space lettuce, but I gotta mention this. NASA's doing a year-long study. They're sending people out to the desert to see what it's like to live on Mars. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You've already admitted you can't grow food on Mars. You can't do it.
Nom nom nom.
So are they just sending these people out? There's no water on Mars. Are they just sending these people out to the desert to die of dehydration and starvation?
Space
Is that the goal?
Well, I don't know. They depends if they got those Chinese biodomes that grow little plants on the moon.
Yep.
Throw a few of those in your backpack. Boom.
Well, you got to do more than just sprout it, though. That's only gonna feed. That's fight there.
Feed that stray lizard that's getting around.
Yeah. But yeah, I just saw that one, the whole Mars thing. And there's new reasons why it's going to take longer to go to the moon. And there's a lot of talk now about the ISS. It's falling apart. And
yeah, the dude who helped build it said it's not looking good. I saw that go by this morning. One of those astronauts that went up there and built it. You guys remember all that, right? Those great shots of them building it, and that guy that helped do it that's now saying it's falling apart. That dude.
Right.
Well, maybe they should, get that guy who's building the fuel station and say, look, probably don't need the fuel station just yet. Build a new ISS.
Ding, 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 ding.
I think China and Russia are working on that. I don't think the U.S. is going to be a part of it. Their whole new space station they're building up there. I don't think the U.S. is going to be invited to play. Yeah, I agree, Liz. Space is a big yawn. It's a lot of talk and hoopla, and it's easy to get excited about it at first. But after 20 years of being told that all this stuff is going to happen and it never coming to fruition, it takes all the spice out of it. It's like, yeah, you've told me this already. Yeah, we know you. Yeah, you grew lettuce in space again. Okay, great. When are you going to do something?
But this time it's quantum lettuce, right? Because everything quantum.
Just throw the word quantum in front of it, and people's brains melt, and you get another couple years out of it.
It's kind of, obviously, Liz, that's kind of why we have fallen off on our dissection of the space idiocy, because it's so idiotic that there's really no point anymore. If anyone really can't see through this stuff anymore, I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Jerry Springer show. It's fun at first, and it just gets
obscure,
boring and the same thing over and over again.
Morton Downey Jr., that was my boy.
Yeah, we know the ending of it already. Yes, you cheated on him. Yes, it was with a transvestite. Yes, okay. I saw this twice last week.
Now this child is not yours, nor is it yours. You kidnapped this child. No, it was
But yeah, when you hear the same story over and over and over again, you're right. It gets boring, and yeah, we need something new from space. But they really, you can't. When you can't do the thing you said you were going to do first, all the other stuff you say you're going to do behind it, it's all backburn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I saw a story that said they were going to decommission the ISS, privatize it, and open it up to space tourists. Just what I heard.
I could see them, 100 years down the road, if this facade is still going on, NASA pretty much claiming that they didn't have a whole lot to do with space travel, this and that. And yeah, they're going to blame everything on the private sector. I see Elon Musk as their fall guy for all their nonsense. It seems like everything that he's besides like the cars and stuff like that, but the space travel, there was something else that he's all wrapped up in. That's just nonsense. And it seems that they're looking for that fall guy, not now, while we're still alive, but in the future, when they rewrite history. I could see them blaming a lot of stuff on Elon. Why we can't go to space in 100 years still.
Yeah, well, that's if they're still in control, and
yeah,
like I
said,
I still have like fair bit of hope for how things are going to eventually turn out. Even like when you're looking at how things are in Australia and things like that. So yeah, I still have hope that there's too many people awake, even if it's a smaller percentage than the masses and all that. In general, I think that sort of thing's already been started. That awakening, in a sense, has already been started. So, yeah, the system that comes after this is I don't think it should be theirs, and I don't think it will be theirs, honestly.
Currently, 19,774 awake individuals on a map I'm looking at for sure.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 36 in my area. Now, when I clicked
That's
into
what I'm
the
going
app
to
this
check
morning-
right now is to see how many I have. Oh, wow, I've got new folks. Nice. Hi, new folks.
Yeah, when I clicked into the app just a little bit ago, it said that a new update was available, but then when I went to the Google Play Store, it didn't have the update there.
Oh.
So the app might tell you that the update is ready. It may be still going through the process, because I know he said he was going to be doing it today. So he may have sent it into Google and is waiting authentication or whatever the word would be. But yeah, when I clicked into the app, it said that a new update is available. But so just hold tight, folks. It'll be there. Yeah, it didn't let me.
Definitely. Excited to see new folks.
Yeah, for Flattoberfest, the couple days before Flattoberfest, every hour I'm going to take a picture.
Right? The migration.
And just watch all these dots migrating onto this one area. It's going to be so cool.
What? Allison Briscoe said she had dinner with a blue dot the other night. That's what's up. You have to name your first child David, right? Or I'm just being silly. I'm being silly.
Or else he gets to keep it, right?
Or he gets it right. You guys didn't read those terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Woo, they're a handful.
Don't worry about it. Just press accept.
Just go. Right. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah.
It'd be all right.
That reminds me of this human centipede on South Park.
Oh, God.
Butters
Oh,
read
not
the
it.
terms and conditions. Okay, yeah, no, I don't accept that part. He's reading through all of them. And Stan signs it. No, I don't read that. Butters is like, well, how do you know what you're agreeing to if you didn't read it? I'm with Stan.
This app is so cool. I have to go.
I think we know what we're agreeing to a degree, in with these, all the apps and things that update. I'm not saying Dave's app at all, but all these like Google and things like that. It's pretty much, do you agree to be spied on and all your information and data stolen? It's like, wow, yeah.
Guess.
Not really, but
it's not even just Google. I mean,
Hey,
when you buy
we're
a
joking.
TV from Samsung, it tells you that thing is going to be watching you and not to have a private conversation while standing in front of it.
Okay. So I
Wow.
missed the show a few shows back because my phone did not wake me up. Remember? Then yesterday, I had a clock set for a load of laundry I had going while I had my guitar cranked up and knew I wouldn't hear the buzzer go off in the back of the house. I had my phone set so that I would hear it or feel it or whatever. And lo and behold, suddenly I've been jamming a long time, fingers are getting sore. What's going on? And look, and the buzzer had gone off on my phone like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, are you kidding? So another time, a timer that should be audible didn't happen. So at that point, I really began digging into my phone settings, figuring it had to be something I fucked up and set wrong in the sounds. So I went to all the sounds were turned up. Okay, so I went to the clock. I went to that. I made all the sounds were all kicked up. I was like, well, maybe it's the actual audio thing I'm using. Maybe it's the alarm. Maybe I'm that guy that's so old I can't hear the alarm I'm using. Let me make a louder alarm. So I push one of the new sounds I can go to, and it says, cannot be played during call. I press another sound. It says, cannot be played during call. Well, at that point, I wasn't on the call. In fact, I looked at my open apps, and there wasn't an app open at all on my phone except the page I was looking at trying to work out my sounds. So what fucking call was going on my fucking phone without my knowing it while I'm sitting there trying to work out my sound? So that's what's going on with my phone when it doesn't alarm, is there are calls on my fucking phone.
They were stealing your riffs. They wanted your riffs.
Dude, what the fuck?
You want to unlock the power of those vocals.
It almost is, Mad Pie Man.
Unlocking the power of the vocals. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there, Walt.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
It's the Onion Radio News. An area child is baffled by stationary, non-violent images. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Newton, Massachusetts first grader Jamie Linnell is reported to be in stable condition following exposure to a static, non-confrontational image early today. The image, a 1947 Life magazine photo of a woman tending to a rose garden, left Linnell in a state of panic and disorientation. The boy's mother, Rita Linnell, spoke to reporters.
He was really scared and trembling, and he kept asking me, Mommy, why isn't this exploding?
Doctors at St. Mary's Children's Hospital say the boy's condition improved after he received emergency doses of Tecan 3. Hoping to avoid the last-minute scramble it goes through every year, the ExxonMobil Corporation announced today that it has made a solemn promise to get moving on taxes early. Chairman and CEO Lee R. Raymond.
We're going to have to start sorting through those receipts from the Malaysian production facilities the first weekend we have time. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to get it done ahead of time for a change so we could get our refund before everyone else?
Raymond added that he doesn't want to find himself driving around at 10 p.m. looking for a gas station or convenience store with a copy machine like he did last year or the year before. The Centers for Disease Control announced today that it has traced a potentially lethal strain of soy flu to a single tofurkey at a San Francisco Bay Area food processing factory. CDC Director Dr. Julie Gerberding.
An investigation of Green Earth Foods has located the bird-shaped loaf of bean curd from which the infection originated. And to prevent further spreading of the disease, all tofurkeys in Northern California have been quarantined and will be destroyed.
Gerberding also said the soy virus does not appear to have been transmitted to the factory's spaghetti and wheat balls microwavable entree division. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at The Onion.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The Wicked One, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
morning. Here.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt, and Zach.
And Lucas.
It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt, and Zach.
And Lucas.
It's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Rail Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh.
And Lucas.
Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
And welcome back to the second half of the Ironworx, kicking off right now.
That was good, that one.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
That was the dramatic version.
So I saw something just now.
Uh-oh.
Made me kind of laugh.
What's
Where was it? Oh, sorry, I'm going through my, Oh, this is maybe a conspiracy crouton, not so much space lettuce. But you know how we were talking about small, tiny little drones and how small they could get?
Hmm?
Well, now they're saying there are flying microchips the size of a sand grain that can be used for population surveillance.
Now, are these flying, or is this like the smart dust that can just like be blown around? Is this the Hitachi smart dust?
No, it's a winged microchip that can be carried by the wind as it monitors such things as pollution levels or the spread of airborne diseases. Interesting. I will... Here's a picture. Let me see if I can. No, it's not letting me... Here, I'll just share this with you.
You know, I had a crazy idea about chemtrails the other day. No, this is just an off-the-cuff idea, so I'm not saying it's a reality. But you know how it's supposedly got these metals, barium, strontium, aluminium in it? Well, I just figured if that's falling to the ground and sort of getting incorporated into the soil and things like that, wouldn't it be easier to map somehow through, you know, like some technology? If you've got a surface layer of metals and you know the right frequency you want to sort of hit at, then it's sort of almost like, you know, you could map out the whole thing and turns it into a grid in a sense.
Yeah.
And so not just to stay up in the air, but also to, well, it goes everywhere, obviously, but also just a way of, you know, turning every piece of land into something that's griddable with a computer or something. I don't know.
Now, wouldn't these things be being breathed in? I mean, it's smaller than the tip of a pencil. The
dust?
pencil lead tip on a pencil? Yeah, these microchips they're teeny tiny. I mean, when I get done working, out in the yard after cutting a bunch of wood with saws and stuff like that, my nose is filled with sawdust. Just filled,
Yeah, well, you don't want to be snorting smart dust.
Yeah, no doubt. Or even track diseases. That's scary.
What?
Yeah, that's what it says. The scientists say they could potentially, ding, be used to monitor for contamination, surveil populations, or even track diseases.
Yeah, right.
So I wonder how long they've had these. I mean, if they're telling us about them now, they've probably already been in use for quite some time.
Or will never, ever be in use.
Yeah.
Well, couple things. I saw a video yesterday of somebody talking about drones upon which they could have blow darts. Just saying. Another thing, speaking of weird diseases, Liz shared something there in chat that I went to do a little investigation on and kind of broke my brain a bit. So apparently since 2016, there have been terms and conditions for Amazon, which most of us use in one form or another, talking about, and I quote, however, this restriction will not apply in the event or occurrence certified by the United States Centers for Disease Control or successor body of a widespread viral infection transmitted via bites or contact with bodily fluids that causes human corpses to reanimate and seek to consume living human flesh, blood, brain, or nerve tissue, and is likely to result in the fall of organized civilization. That is in the Amazon Web Service terms as of 2016. Don't know.
That's where you needed to hit that goat button.
For
Josh.
Apparently, since 2011, at least, there's been an area of the Center for Disease Control website that has a zombie preparedness area. So, yeah, just reading some stuff on the internet to you.
Well, I had seen an article, some military thing they were talking about, but it's these exosuits, that you can walk around in and you don't get tired. It does like most of the walking for you, and you can lift big things and stuff like that for these, like a super soldier almost. Well, they have IVs that are hooked up to the soldier. And if you get shot, or a massive head wound or this or that, or, get knocked out to where you don't, aren't functioning, they shoot you with all these nanobots. They go and heal up the wound, just to get it to stop bleeding or whatever, and then take the body back to the base. So you're knocked out, but these nanobots are controlling your muscle movement and all that kind of stuff, and actually walk you back to the med tent to where you can be operated on. So we can get you back out in the field and, killing indigenous species or people. But yeah, and that was a couple years ago. They were talking about that.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that as well.
I don't know if, Now, telling a brain to do something like that and having it work, yeah, that'd be, I don't know. But if they could put these things all throughout your body and start firing off your, little nervous system, hook up to it and control your muscles to flex and walk and all that, I don't know. Maybe they could do something like that. It could all be science fiction. It could just be conspiracy croutons. But I don't know.
Or you just put scopolamine.
I don't know. You'd end up worse off, wouldn't you? Like if you're already injured, and then someone's just remote controlling you, walking you around, your body's going to be just completely buggered by the end of the walk.
So I think we just bring it back to the chemtrails and pull out that barium, strontium, and aluminium, and just replace it with the scopolamine, and then we don't have to worry about any of this. You see.
Yes, doctor. Scopolamine. That's something that I've kind of wanted to try, but not wanted to try at the same time.
You might want to go read Dave's book. Wade Davis's book, sorry. Damn it.
Is it a warning book?
It's the guy who basically discovered it. He's the guy who was an ethnobotanist, and he wanted to find out. There were too many. There was like a wave of these people that were showing up, freaking dead at a hospital that then walked out. I mean, that happened, and so he went to investigate it. That there might be truth in the history of zombies. That there is thing in their, area and their religion and their whatever that they use to create these people who become so close to death that when they show up or examined by a doctor, it resembles death, but they're not dead. And when they come back out of that state, they're pretty much controllable. Kind of like all those old voodoo zombie movies we watched in the 50s and 60s growing up. I wasn't watching them in the 50s and 60s. They came from the 50s and 60s, and I watched them growing up anyway. Fuck, I'm not that old. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting book if you've never read it, or the movie Serpent and the Rainbow. If you've never seen it, go watch it. You might not want to do a pull of the old scopolamine after that.
Yeah, go watch Reefer Madness. You might not want to smoke a joint after that.
I'm telling you, it's the guy who discovered it. He's the guy. Wade Davis. Go fucking read. It was a great book. He's had a few books that were really great. He's on the same level as Terrence McKenna and Don Juan. I mean, any of the ethnobotanists who have gone out there to find out what's going on with these indigenous people's way of going out of the body, going into other realities, and it's usually some kind of psychoactive substance being used. And sometimes it's zombie dust.
Yeah, isn't that the stuff they just blow in your face?
Supposedly. That's what they say. I have a zombie cat that's walking around on me right now with her eyes half closed. You can't get on me, baby.
Nom 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 nom.
Good croutons.
Right.
Reefer Madness. That reminded me of that Pineapple Express. You seen the first part of that? Illegal. Yeah, that was funny.
This is the bee's knees. Why are we down here in a hole in the ground? We should be out telling people about this. This shit is awesome. Kill him. Bury the hole.
Yeah, you know what this army needs? Well, there's so many dudes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was definitely the funniest part of that movie for sure.
Oh jeez. So I hope y'all are having a good day, early light, starting your dark. Yeah, these shows just keep flying by, man. I can't believe it's already. Yeah. You guys are the best out there.
Yeah, here I am, lost in chat yet again. Thank you guys.
So, did you guys see the new Dune?
No, don't say anything.
I won't. I don't know.
You
For
can
me,
give
it was
us a
hard to get
critique,
into.
though.
La 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 la.
For me, it was hard to get into. Well, it was one of the old. I got it the day of, as soon as it came out. So it was a crappy recording. I bet if I go now, it'd be one that you could actually hear what they're saying, and the music doesn't.
Yeah, it
drop
does
every
help.
word they say.
It does.
Yeah,
help.
so
that's
I
not.
couldn't give a
that's-
real critique of it. Yeah, I couldn't give a
that
real
helps.
critique.
I noticed our friend, line
Watching a
producer
bootleg,
extraordinaire, Alan there in chat saying he just watched the original 84 version, or the first part of it, and plans on going and check it out soon. Yeah. There's a lot of critique of the movie, and don't get me wrong, there's some really interesting things in that movie that are questionable choices a director might make. However, knowing the fucking reach of that book, again, great, amazing reads. If you've never read Herbert's Dune books, go do it. They were like great. And like he built a world. There were freaking glossaries of terms. There were like freaking
like Tolkien did.
The guy Kynes, that was the planetologist who went to Dune, that found the Freeman and worked out their like cycle of how the worms produce blah blah blah. Anyway, I don't want to spoil the movie. The thing is like in the book, like his report to the Emperor of the fucking way the shit worked, like a report you would read in like a real like scientific paper. It's nuts, the stuff this guy came up with. So yeah, the fact that they had to condense that into a 2-hour movie in 1984, yeah, he did pretty good. Made a great movie that has absolutely little to do with the book.
Yeah,
because he tried to encompass a bunch of books into one movie.
Should read that. That'd be good. That'd be good. But is it like too spacey, or is it just?
They're going to other planets, so it's pretty
You should
spacey.
watch.
Pretty spacey.
You should watch the
No,
movie.
there's not like fighting ships, and it's not Star Wars. Go read it. It's amazing. Like it's one of the best. I read the original probably 5 times growing up, and the second probably 3 times, and the third probably twice, because it kind of trails off and gets way just like, oh my God, I'm tired of Dune. But yeah, there's a bunch. I think there's 4 or 5, and then I think his son even like continued with some of the stuff. Anyway, it's huge mythology, lots of stuff that probably is pertinent to what we all talk about, how Tolkien had real history in it, and things like that. I doubt that this guy tapped into quite a bit to have come up with all this. Of course, that being said, there was a nut job who created a whole freaking crazy world, R80, and then created his own religion and had people like Travolta hanging out with him. So, science fiction writers are pretty brainy, I guess.
Yeah, my mom
Tommy
really,
went to
really upset with the whole Dune movie because she loved the books. And I mean, no movie is as good as the books. Maybe the Lord of the Rings extended versions where Peter Jackson put everything into them. But
no, they didn't even have Tom Bombadil in it.
It still didn't
Took that
even
guy
end it
out.
right. Even the
Right.
ending was wrong, regardless
Yeah.
of how long your version is.
And the hobbits looked into each other's eyes just a bit too long for me.
But yeah, I wouldn't go read the book first because you'll be upset with the movie. Go watch the movie first, get an idea of what's going on, and then read the book.
It's kind of 2 different worlds again to
Every
me.
time I read the book first and then watch a movie, the movie just sucks.
Yeah, every time.
And I'm always disappointed at the end. So, yeah, maybe doing it backwards, then you won't be disappointed with the movie. You'll be like, hey, that wasn't a bad movie. I like the story. I'm going to go read the actual book and get the real story.
And then have your mind broken, right, by the story. Yep. I know someone who did it the other way for, or who did it that way for The Shining. They watched the movie first and then went and read the book. And yeah, it's not even the same story at all. It's totally Kubrick's movie and King's book, which is kind of how I kind of look at all this stuff too. I mean, the movies and the books are two different worlds, two different interpretations. Lots of art being thrown around. Lots of creativity. I love movies. I love the creative process of movies. I'm that guy that watches all the shit on the DVD, not just the movie. So,
I got something
I'm into
at
it.
the beginning. The Dune movie, if you never saw the first one, it's all about this stuff called spice.
The spice melange.
And there's
The spice expands consciousness.
Yeah,
the
that are like
spice extends
nomads.
life. I'll stop.
They're like the nomads, and they
The Freeman.
they
are
use
the
space.
desert dwelling people.
Yeah, and they use the spice to hallucinate. To expand their minds and stuff like that. But spice is the only thing that you can use for,
Well,
to another world. Well, isn't that kind of what a hallucinogen does? It takes you to another world.
right, and they microdose it. Like they use it on a regular basis. They don't just like take. They do take it in huge amounts and like have huge experiences, but they also take it on a daily basis to the point that their eyes become blue, and it becomes part of their like change. Anyway, real quick,
Okay.
Darren Daz breaking my brain saying that Dune apparently is located on some old map. I didn't know this, and I'm a Dune fan. Show me, link it up, Darren, please. Daz, thank you.
Yeah, and Spice Girls is a different sort of spice.
That is
Kevlar.
a different spice. That is different.
Yeah.
And the
That
synthetic.
was,
Ooh, flat accord music. No. That's where the zombies come from. Don't you remember that guy in Florida eating the other guy's face? Come on, dude.
Yeah, that was bath
No.
salts. That wasn't spice. That was bath salts.
You're right.
No,
My bad.
I did my experimenting with spice. And at 8:30 in the morning, my cousin and I tried to go to, what's the name of that place? It's like fish and chicken. Long John Silver's. At 8:30 in the morning, I was doing like 20 miles an hour on a 45. I put my car in park at a red light. Yeah, I didn't care for the spice. It definitely don't try to function.
It'll get on top of you real quick. You can't smoke it like it's real flour. It does take a bit of dialing in there on the regulation.
Yeah, I had a buddy that was real bad into that stuff to where he was buying his own, because spice is just, an herb, and it's not the herb that does it to you, it's this crystalline powder stuff that they put onto the herb. That's what does it to you. Well, he liked it so much, he was buying like big giant jars of this powder and making his own spice. I was like, dude, you're crazy. You need to stop this now.
Yeah, I did that. I did that once too. Not for nothing, but yeah, looked at the ingredients and found out you could just order it online.
Yep.
And a big bag of tea leaves, and it all works out.
Make my own spice. Yeah. Do not try this at home, folks. But yeah, weird stuff. Can't say I wasn't a fan, but yeah, I like my cannabis myself.
Same.
You just feel dumber after that stuff. It's like nitrous.
It is a lot like nitrous.
Fun while you're doing it, takes you to a really cool place, but when you're done, you're just like, what's my name again? What? Where? What's? How old am I? Yeah, you feel stupid, almost.
So we've only got about 90 seconds before we hit our last segment.
Well, hell.
Isn't that crazy?
Look at us. Yeah, we do that. We do that. Well, I guess y'all hang out and then come back and hang out some more. Would be a thing to do if you could.
Yeah,
who knows what might happen?
Playing this
What,
afternoon?
Zach? I'm sorry. I don't
Have you
know.
heard
Do we
from-
have things planned, Lucas?
no, I don't.
Cool.
Have we heard back from TJ by any chance? If you're not aware who TJ is, that's Terrestrial Mac here on YouTube. I think he finally started spelling his name without all the crazy letters so you could actually find him. Yeah, if you got a favorite song out there that you'd like sung by a flat earther with some talent, put a little crazy spin on it, look him up. He's doing some really cool stuff out there.
He surely is. And he's in several spots. But I've not really received back any sort of confirmation. He's still in kind of a funky headspace right now, and I don't think wants to try to spread it around. And I think he's just worried about, kind of like Liz, and bringing down the tone of the show. So I'm hoping he does. I put it out there again, and even sent him my cell number just in case things get, sort of on top of him too. But we'll see. We shall see. Anyway, this is the Ironworx TFR live.com. We'll be right back.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite. Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
More than a dozen astronauts have officially reported UFOs. Hundreds of hours of UFO footage were filmed by astronauts aboard the space shuttle. Many of these UFOs can only be seen in ultraviolet light. Retired former Apollo astronauts and cosmonauts now tell their stories of their own personal UFO encounters.
The Enigma Channel, intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
to make the donuts.
Good morning to you. Start your day off bright and shiny. Get up off your little hiney and begin your happy day.
Wake up. Wake up.
And welcome back to the fourth and the final segment of the Ironworx on this Friday, 24th of September, 2021. I was a little bit, not late, I wouldn't say.
The wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
You know, for the show. It was, like I said, just by the skin of my teeth, but I was downstairs. I had to make up a bit of a foliar spray for the girls down there. So I spray them about an hour before the lights kick on and give them a nice dousing. But I was all out of my calcium and magnesium mixture and decided to hurry up and try to make up some, what the hell is it? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank here. Anyway,
I can't help you.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
It was a different kind of a foliar spray, but I think I've got both of them recovered and saved and alive and now starting to actually thrive. So finally, we shall see. We shall see. I don't think I'm quite ready to put them into flower yet. I think I'm gonna veg them out for just a little bit longer, I think, just because I've jacked them up so much thus far. I think they need a little
Give
time.
them a little bit longer growing time. Yeah, that's a nice part about being able to control the light, you know. You get to decide when that's going to take place. Now, I've heard of plants. I've never, grown one, but where you can put 24-hour light on them.
All of them. Auto flowers, even the auto flowers, I think will still auto flower under 24 hours, but most of my vegging has been done under 24-hour lights. It was really once I started to see that they were getting root bound and started to see the injuries and stuff that when I was fixing them, I started giving them that 6 hours of sleep just to rest and recuperate. But for the most part, yeah. Even that first run I did was like 90% was done under 100% lighting for the veg cycle.
Nice. So how much does that bump up the old electric bill there? Is it really noticeable once you started using the lights?
It's not bad because I'm not using like the ceramic halide or the high pressure sodium or anything like that. I'm just using LED lights, so it's really, really minimal. Like,
nice.
I guess I have two Mars Hydro 2000, the big board LED lights, and I think those maybe pull a couple 100 watts each, but I don't even think it's that much. And then I just got another tiny, smaller one to sort of fill in that lighting footprint, so I could separate them a little bit and try to fill out that whole section I've got dedicated, so that when I go into flower, I can use the big bright lights on dimmers and stuff to increase the lighting. And then I'll just take my smaller dimmer lights and bring them on the other side once I get it finished, and I'll have a veg side and a flower side, and hopefully start getting something perpetual going, and that'd be ideal. Once I can learn to leave them the F alone and stop messing with them. Like, turns out they thrive with more days with dry soil than they do with days with wet soil. And that was really my biggest problem. Probably that first run and the beginning of the second one was I was just watering way too damn much, which I understand is apparently a big issue for people just starting out, learning to get that done just right. So yeah, more dry days than wet. That's the key.
I knew a lady in Indiana, my buddy's aunt. She taught me how to do a lot of my canning and stuff like that. but she would water her garden every 3 days. That's it. Even if it was raining, every 3 days, like clockwork, she would turn it on, water it for an hour, hour and a half, something like that. She had a huge garden, enormous. Like 50 tomato plants in a straight line. Like enormous, like what Lucas has going on, but not for sale. She canned everything. And yeah, every 3 days she would water it. She's like, the soil, they need the soil to be dry sometimes. You don't want it to be oversaturated. You get root rot and all kinds of different issues that can happen. But yeah, she swore by it. Now I didn't listen to her, and I still watered my gardens every day. But I lived in a sand dune, so the water just ran right through. It didn't sit there. And she lived kind of in a lower area that was kind of marshy. So yeah, knowing your soil, is a big part of it.
Or even knowing what you're growing, because maybe after 3 days, maybe they're suffering some sort of setback and they're stunted a little bit, so they're not going to be taking in as much water. So maybe on that third day when you're ready to water again, maybe they don't need it, and you're going to go ahead and just, it's my schedule, it's my time to water them, and you just go ahead and water them, and that can be an issue too. So just knowing the condition of the plants and being able to look and see, do they need water, and only watering when they need it, as opposed to when you think you ought to be.
The other thing that I think happens is when you water too much or have too much, it stops the roots wanting to go down into the ground. So when it dries out, they're going, I've got to search for water now. So they start putting their roots down even further, which is a lot better for them in the end, because they become even more sort of sturdier in a sense, and they're not so reliant on how much water you give them. So there's that aspect of it as well. But with my sandy soil, it's just like water, and by the afternoon it can be dry again, especially if it's hot. But you definitely don't want too much water there, otherwise it's just ruins things.
Yeah, that's why that lady said she would do that, so the roots would have to dig deeper. She said that's how she got her tomatoes. That's like what she was known for. She could make the big beef tomatoes, and it wasn't just a big tomato, it was like a big beef tomato. And she said that was her trick. By watering it every 3 days, the roots, those 2 days where it wasn't getting water, the roots had to dig deeper and build a stronger foundation, which could then in turn hold a greater weight of fruit.
Yeah, so I sort of cheat a bit with the tomatoes. I get them in the pots, and then I pull off a few leaves and basically bury them down 8 inches or so. So I've got like this little digger screwer thing on the end of a drill, and you can go down really deep and you bury half the stem. So they're already down in the ground a fair bit before right at the early stage. But I used to do the same thing. I wouldn't even water the leaves or anything. I'd just walk into the greenhouse and flood irrigate, so run it down the paths and let it sort of soak in that way, and just give it a big flood for half an hour, and then that was about it. Probably forget about it for a few more days and then come back and see if it was too dry. Just stick your finger in the soil and see how it was going.
Do you pay attention to the soil temperature at all, Josh?
I'm going to be, I don't check it per se. I make sure that my pots aren't sitting directly on the floor there in the basement, so it's not leaching out heat that way. I try to maintain that ambient temperature, sort of keep it regulated with the house, so maybe a little bit on the cool side into the lower 70 degrees. That'd be in, freedom units. But not so much as the soil temperature per se. So I guess, right before I go to harvest, I would like to try some ice water. I've heard I would like to try that just to see how that affects them. And water them with ice water, get the cold temps. and see what kind of colors I can pull out of there.
Yeah, start experimenting a little bit.
Well, I want to get Dom back on and talk to him, because I've been watching a lot of these, cultivators on YouTube, and they do podcasts and shows and put out videos and stuff. And they have a lot of grow science that they talk about, but then they have a lot of bro science that they talk about too. And I would love to see if any of them would be willing to come on a little podcast like ours or show like ours and have some conversations and see how willing they'd be.
Yeah, that would be great, man.
Willing to
That'd be
associate.
grass, yeah.
So Ian says diatomaceous earth is good to help control bugs, which I completely can testify to. One of the issues I had because I watered too much was fungus gnats. So once I started to get those pots dried out and started killing off the eggs and the larvae, I could just put a little bit of diatomaceous earth there on the dry soil on the top, so that when they did start to crawl out, they would get cut, all diced up by the diatomaceous earth, and dehydrate and die off that way, and make it uninhabitable for the other large adult fungus gnats to come and lay more eggs. So, yeah, my fungus gnat issue was not an issue after maybe 2 days. It's a little bit of diatomaceous earth and making sure I'm letting them dry out, which is the key.
Yeah, on a plane says he does not like the fungus gnats.
Mm-mm. No, those little bastards are upstairs now. Now they're all upstairs in the house plants, I'm pretty sure, because they're like in the kitchen, and yeah, I'm pretty sure they got into some of the house plants we have upstairs. So now I'm going to have to make sure they don't get watered for a while and maybe do a little bit of diatomaceous there. And my problem is I'm not like in a tent. I'm not in a sealed environment. So that leaves me open to a lot of things. But yeah, maybe next week or a week after. Apparently you can buy just like a segment, a section with a little zipper door in it. So I can just like tape it up to what I've got built thus far and finish that nice little seal. Because once I do finally put them into flower, I'm going to need to go through and fix some light leaks and maybe get some black plastic on the outside to make sure that 12 hours of darkness is 12 hours of actual darkness.
Yeah. What's that? Sorry. Just had a pair of pliers fall off the wall.
Just randomly.
Oh.
Yeah. It doesn't worry me too much because I found them. I'm going to have to fix the hook system I have on there or something because they fell out before. So I'm not like overly, but it's just weird because there's nothing moving around here at all. I mean, the ground didn't shake. Nothing happened all of a sudden. Doomp.
Chaos theory. Who knows, man?
It's like the butterfly flapping its wings. Is that different?
The world is an imperfect place. Screws fall out.
Isn't it Murphy's Law? Anything that can happen will.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah, I could see that. Now, does evolution fall into that? I guess
No.
NASA's sending something up called Lucy.
Like cross
Named after
species.
Lucy.
I'm a duck. Now I'm a bear.
Yeah.
Type of evolution. I don't think so.
Except for a platypus.
It says anything that can happen
True.
will.
Alan says a butterfly flaps his wing in Saskatoon. A pair of pliers falls down behind Zach.
On its way to create a Tsunami for Lucas.
That goes
luck
into
getting to
a
me here.
junkyard, goes through a junkyard and builds a MacBook Pro and wraps it for you. And that would be less spectacular than evolution. Just saying. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's pretty amazing, these stories that they came up with to lie to us when you think about it. I know I've said this before, but it's kind of like the whole Harry Potter thing. When he goes to see the wand maker for the very first time. You know, and Harry, that's where he realizes that Harry's wand is the partner of Voldemort's wand. And they were like, oh, the wizard who shares the wand, whatever they used to make the wand. He's like, the other wizard, he did amazing things. And then he's like, they were horrible, evil, wicked things, but nonetheless, they were amazing. And that's why that's why he expected so much out of Harry, that he was going to do amazing things as well because of that. But, it just goes to show that you don't have to be evil to appreciate, the intelligence behind evil. It's kind of like know your enemy, the Raid song. You have to know your enemy to, combat them.
They're my teachers that taught me to hate me. I'll stop.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you can say it's intelligent, but at the end of the day, they're basically taking works of good and then just inverting them and trying to sell them back to people. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
It's like,
I'm talking about the lies so much. I'm talking about the way they've gone about to get everybody to believe this. I mean, like you said, it's inverted from reality. It's absolute nonsense and gibberish. But yet, this is what everybody believes. They've got everybody to just throw out their common sense completely. Don't even use it. Don't apply it at all. And just listen, regurgitate, it's like a rinse, repeat. As children go in through the school systems, I bet they're shaking, though. I guarantee they are. They're freaking out with all this new stuff coming out. I mean, there are so many young flat earthers out there now. The schooling systems, I would not want to be a science teacher, physics teacher, anything like that. That's got to be one of the worst jobs right now.
yeah, unless they're a flat earther, that'll be sweet.
Yeah.
But you could give them a run for their money every time you go in there. You could bring them a new proof, It's what about this, each day, You could have 365 proofs for the, and you just bring them in every day for them. You'll slowly get to them, whittle them down.
I was just thinking that yesterday. I was like, man, all those teachers are so lucky I didn't have this information 25 years ago.
Oh, hell yeah.
I would have made my physics teacher, I would have taken physics just for this, and I would have made him quit. Or I would have blown his world, one of the two. Yeah. So there's students out there right now that are just giving hell to these teachers that are trying to, promote this nonsense still. Like, once you see and, are awakened to it, it's not, the spell's over. You can choose to go back underneath the spell. Maybe. That'd be horrible. That'd be a internal struggle, in my opinion. But yeah, as far as once this stuff comes out and it, that none of that stuff works anymore. That spell has been broken. Yeah,
well, if it's also the parents as well. Like, you get enough parents that are awake to this stuff. Like, for me, like, I don't give a shit if my kids don't go to school. Honestly, I don't care, because it's nearly everything they're teaching in those, institutions is complete horseshit. So,
It's
they
camouflage.
can learn more.
But it's camouflage.
Not just horse. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say it allows them to blend in with the rest of the sheep, and it allows them to at least be able to recognize just how blind the sheep are. It's tough. It really is, because you can create such a divide with, and of course it's still being created through media and everything else between the homeschool kid and a public school kid or a private school kid. They create those distinctions and then the caricatures out of them. But you still want them to be able to function as human beings with, I guess, I don't know. Do you really though?
I think that's changing a little bit, like this, especially with what's going on. And they don't have to be flat earthers either to actually realize that, say, the stuff that they bring in with Common Core and all those other, types of things just aren't working, even when you're talking about economics and, the monetary system and things like that. Like, a lot of those guys are sort of getting pretty disgusted because they realize that, this is not, the system's fraudulent on, that side of things. So that they're definitely thinking that homeschooling's far more superior. So while the media may trump it up to be, something that it's not, well, as I think a lot of people are realizing, the media is not worth a grain of salt. It's just garbage at this point.
Indeed.
Absolutely. Well, we are slowly coming up to the end here, folks. We got a few minutes. Hope you all come and join us this afternoon. Not really sure what it's going to pertain, but
you never know.
Usually end up being great shows.
Some of our best shows have been completely spur of the moment. Yes, sir.
I know Cammie's feeling a lot better. She's been busting her butt around here.
Good.
So yeah, I'm sure she'll be there. Have something
Nice.
new to blow our minds. Yeah, you didn't catch the Glowbusters last night. It was a good one. We were talking about satellites and all that stuff, but we went into this one section of the electric field and spider ballooning and NASA talking about how they use electric potential on these tethers that are connected to their balloon satellites that actually lower them and raise them up in the atmosphere just by the electric potential on this wire. Yeah, it was really good stuff.
That's crazy. It reminds me of a dream I had years ago about, at that time, for some reason in my memory, it was the space shuttle. And the space shuttle was pulling these huge mile-long wires behind them, but they were doing these shapes in the air, and they would let these wires go. And when the wires would fall onto the Earth, it would burn these emblems onto the surface of the Earth below. And I remember that being so fucking real, that dream. Like, I knew it wasn't a dream. It was me seeing some shit. And that was so long ago, the shuttle was involved in it. So, yeah, that's pretty nuts.
I'm telling you, man, that's why I don't go to the ocean. Because that dream I had, it was so real that I don't think it was a dream. I think it was like a, premonition or something, a warning. So, yeah, when you see an 800, 900, 1,000, whatever it was, tidal wave, it kind of says don't go by big bodies of water anymore. I don't know. Just, yeah.
Was it like 2012 style?
I can't even explain it. It was like midday and it blocked out the sun. Like way off in the distance.
That's rough,
Yeah.
buddy.
Just terrifying. Yeah, it was. I'll never forget it. Ever. I've never had the dream again. It's not like a reoccurring one. I just need to see it one time, and that locked it in. Yeah, weird stuff.
That'll do it.
I had one about an alien invasion too, where the whole sky turned red and water was being sucked up out of all the lakes and rivers and stuff straight up into the sky in like funnels. I don't know. That one seemed
Huh.
real too.
That
Yeah.
sounds like mud
Sky,
flood.
right,
recess
that's what I
sort
say.
of stuff.
Sky
Yeah.
turning red and water being sucked up. Might not be aliens. Might not be aliens. Well, damn. That's it, people.
I did not see an alien spaceship. So yeah, who knows? It could have been something else, and I just said it was aliens. You know?
Yeah, go revisit it.
No.
No.
Thank you all. Love you all. We will see
Love
you
y'all.
this afternoon right here on YouTubers.
That's it. We'll be a few other places as well. But we won't be here on TFRlive.com until next Tuesday morning. But we will be back then for another exciting episode of the Ironworks. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Be good. Be well. We love you. Bye-bye.